kiss my fat ass. I didn't expect to cry. I didn't expect to tear up. I didn't expect to have that emotion, and it just came out of me. And it's funny because I then ran to the director and said, let's do it over again because I don't want people to seem like that. I need to be strong. And he was like, no, Tyra, that was real. That was real. And so I would like to know, like, what does that really feel like?
Okay. Well, I've never shared this story publicly with anybody before, and because it's an uncomfortable conversation to have in general. And I'm going to tear up because I'm sad for myself, because I'm really happy about being able to share this with other people, because like you, I think it's going to really help a lot of people. But when I was growing up, I was a kind of pudgy kid, you know, I was just a little pudgy, I had little cute chubby cheeks, but I thought I had it under control. And just so you know, I kind of wrote a few notes, just because if you've noticed me looking down, it's only because I want to make sure I get this message out to everyone who's out there doing anyways. But my life changed when I was 14. My parents separated and got a divorce, and then my relationship with food changed at 14. My mom was working long hours because she had to take care of us, and my father, who I saw every weekend and every Wednesday, would reward us with food. We would go to buffets, and we would go to fast food, and my mom was gone working, and not blaming them, but I had a different kind of relationship. I was going to fast food restaurants and eating up and feeding my sister. So by the time I went to college, I was over 287 pounds. And I think it just because, wow. And so that happened. And then I'll never forget, I came home for Christmas. And
How did you feel? I want to slow down a little bit. How did you feel when you were 287 pounds and going to school? Because you looked at that picture, and then you said, oh, and then you like wanted to change the subject.
I was lonely.
Yeah.
I was lonely. I was lonely.
What is that?
Aren't you lonely? Isn't everybody lonely when you're like that? I mean, it sucks to don't have a prom date, or to not be the cute girl and not fit in clothes at the mall. And that was before they had plus size clothes really for girls my size. And I was funny and loud and great, and had a wonderful personality, but it's still something that I wear as a coach because it's easier to be funny than it is to be fat. And
you feel like that you pushed humor to like have something be positive, or
yeah, I mean, it's almost like I beat you to the punchline. Like, I already know I'm fat, so let me just say it first. And it's still something that I struggle with. I still work it out.
We had a conversation before, Lauren, and stop me if it's too much. But you said something around the airplane, and you said you feel like you're kind of always that girl, even though you have a different body now, that she kind of still there.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
When you're almost 300 pounds, it's easy for you to be the friend. It's easy for you to be the funny girl. It's easy for you to be thought as a second-class citizen, and to sort of almost apologize for it before, it becomes someone else's problem. It's your problem, but it's someone else's problem too. If you're like sitting next to them on a bus stop or whatever, and you're in their space, you're like, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I know I got a big boobs or whatever. It's easy to say that. But it's hard to be that person. It's not fair, and it's something that you almost feel like you've done it to yourself, and so you're out of control, and it just continues to manifest, and it continues to get worse.
And you know what? And what pisses me off is fat jokes are okay.
Yeah.
Black jokes aren't okay. Jewish jokes aren't okay. Gay jokes aren't okay. But fat jokes are still okay.
Well, they're not okay. Actually, what happened was I never was bullied. I was never treated rudely by others. I just wasn't their girlfriend. I wasn't the cute girl. But my girls in high school were nice to me, and I was a popular person. But it was my own family that bullied me. And it was actually Christmas. I came home from college, and I was at my height. I was 287 pounds. I probably had gained a freshman 40 as opposed to a freshman 15. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was cooking some hors d'oeuvres for the Christmas feast. And I wasn't paying attention. I was watching TV, and I was making a dip for my little cousins. And she was nagging at me, Lauren. She was trying to get my attention. And I wasn't paying attention. I was listening to music or whatever. And I remember my aunt, who was a very family bully, she said, not now, Shelby, Lauren's hungry, to kind of like dig at me. And I remember thinking, oh, she thinks that I'm so busy working on making a feast or making a meal that everything else is irrelevant, and that my only focus is food. And it made me so sad and so lonely because I was the only person in my family that had that issue. And so I immediately thought, well, what can I do? Because I'd been yo-yo dieting and doing all these fixes that I thought would help solve it. And I thought, well, I want a quick fix. I want something that's going to do it once and for all, and that's it, and I'll be done with it, and I never have to think of it again. And so I settled on weight loss surgery. Okay, and then
Which one did you choose?
I had a gastric bypass in 2001, so I was like 18 years old. They didn't even do those surgeries in my state for people my age. So I had to go outside of the state and have surgery.
Where'd you go?
I went to Texas because I'm from Oklahoma.
How old were you?
I was 18.
18
years old. And I had the surgery, and this is before they had laparoscopic band surgery, so they could just make little holes. I had an entire incision from my sternum to my what would have been my belly button. They had to remove my belly button after that, but and it was completely open, and my stomach was fixed, cut in half. My stomach was cut in half, and I thought that would be it. And I was so happy. I was young and losing all this weight, and I was like, wow, it's the body I've always wanted, and I could forget about it. I could escape being fat, which is like a trap, a prison. And then what happens after you lose a lot of weight is that you have a lot of excess skin to get rid of. It's not, I didn't wake up the next day thin. I had to still work at it. And then it took months after, and then there you go. And I mean, I was 20 years old there with an 80-year-old body. My boobs were down to my waist, and so I had a whole new set of neuroses came involved. It's like, where do I tuck the skin? How do I go to the beach with my 20-year-old girlfriends and look like a regular girl, even though I got, I'm sorry?
Dating.
Oh, dating was like, I mean, I couldn't tell you the amount of, not getting the dates. Because when they would go home and they'd be like, well, take off your jacket. And then I'm like, got flabby arms. Or then, don't even go there when they take off the bra. Because it was just a whole nother body under there. And it just didn't look like the girl that was sitting on top.
How did they respond?
Negatively.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't, I still was not wanted. I remember I dated this guy in college, and he was so cute, and I thought he was so cute. I found out later he's gay. You know who you are.
Still was cute. Still was cute, but just gay.
That's why I didn't want. But he was a bodybuilder, and he was into fitness, and I thought he was so handsome because he was muscly and all the things that I like about a man. But he would make me feel bad about myself. He would I remember I took off my skirt or whatever. My mom's not watching this, right? And my thighs were so flabby that he just looked at me in utter disgust. And I was so embarrassed. I was so oh my God, he doesn't find me attractive. Because at that point, I kind of had forgotten a little bit about, what I mean? I'd living a life of, I was 20, 21. So it's been a couple of years since I'd actually been as heavy as I had. And I remember him looking at me with disgust, and I felt oh my God, I can't let anyone see this ever again. And so for several years, I'd have surgery to help repair that. I had, my tummy tucked because I had all this excess skin. It was folding over, and I didn't know what to do with it, and it was embarrassing. And thankfully, my medical insurance would help to pay for some of the reparation surgeries. And and I had my boobs lifted because, well, let's face it, that's not cute at any age. So I had that happen, and you know what? And then it still didn't help. It still didn't help because it just. You do all these things and try to make yourself this body that you want, and at the end of the day, it's a marathon. It's not a race.
So when you look in the mirror right now, when all your clothes are off, when it's just you and Lauren in that mirror, what do you think? What do you see?
I see a woman who's been through a lot. My body is constantly changing because my weight fluctuates still. What I thought was going to be a quick fix was what I found out to be a Band-Aid. Do you know what I mean? To a bigger problem. And what I'm realizing through this process is that it's, like I said, it's a marathon. It's not a race, and it's going to be a lifelong effort to maintain or to get to where I will feel comfortable in my own skin. It's not about being thin for me. I want to be on this earth for as long as I can, so it's about being healthy now. I'm realizing, now that I'm a little older, and separated from it. And
but Lauren, there's one thing that you said to me, and you are absolutely stunning. She's what I call a brick house. You're a brick house. You're pow, put it out. And now you're uncomfortable with guys looking at your beauty. Explain that.
I don't know. It's a whole new world for me. I was never thought of as a pretty person. Do you know what I'm saying? Can you understand what that's like?
I just can't imagine that because I've only known you as this woman who is so beautiful. on the outside, obviously, but also from the inside, you to me seem like I'm gonna cry. You to me seem like the whole package. You're funny. You're amazing person. You're a wonderful friend, and you're gorgeous. I would kill for your boobs.
Ah, nice. You can buy them.
I really want to understand that because we had a conversation about it, and I kind of asked a couple of questions, but you don't want them to look at you? Like,
I don't know. You know, Tara, working with you every day has been such a blessing because let me tell you, you've encouraged me and every woman out there to find something that they love about themselves. And I'm doing that. You know, I used to have these thighs that I couldn't stand. I mean, they still sometimes wake up and sometimes go, hey guys, let's get it together. But I have to tell you, I'm learning to love every part of my body because this body has been very good to me. It has done everything I needed to do. When I had surgery, it healed for me. You know, I get to walk around and live in it every day. And it's where I live. And so I'm thankful for it. I'm starting to love everything about it, you know? I'm starting to like it a lot more.
See what I see and what everyone,
Yes.
everyone.
And I've learned from you how to take good pictures so that if I don't like something, I can just hide.
Lauren, you are so beautiful. Like every day I text her, and like you are a ray of sunshine. Like I'm talking from the inside out because you inspire us.
Everyone.
The reason I'm telling this story is because I'm not alone, and no one else out there is alone. We all suffer through something that is just like going on that we're trying to get a hold on, and it's going to be a process. All of us are doing something that's a process thing, and I want to share it because I want other people to know that they can still live the life they want to live. Like, I'm so thankful that I live this life. And I've, you know, so for all of you out there, I'm here with you.
We are happy with you. You know what's so interesting, Lauren? I'm sitting here, I'm trying to hold back my tears. I'm looking in the audience, and there are so many people right now that are crying with you. I'm looking at you in the pink right there. I'm looking at you in the blue here. I'm looking at you in the green there. I mean, it is just in the orange here. I mean, everybody is like crying with you because we all feel some form of this as women and have this struggle no matter what size you are. You know, like, are you too big? Are you too small? Are you too this? Are you too that? But I feel like what you just talked about, like, hits the crux of what the majority of women in our country are going through every single day, every single
And I'm
moment.
scared to tell this story, too. I've never told this story to anybody because I've been afraid to tell it to myself. Do you know what I mean? To, like, talk about weight is a really taboo subject. It's not something that, like, no one wants to see someone crying on TV because they were overweight. Like, I get that. So
That's not true. You're wrong.
well, and I'm hoping that people are kind and gentle about it, you know, because my biggest fear is scared to tell people how I felt or how I feel about my body.
Yeah.
But you know what? One of the things that I learned throughout my weight loss journey and like even getting to the point where I needed to have a weight loss journey was that I drank a lot of sugary drinks, and water was a great way for me to learn to keep my metabolism going, to keep hydrated, and I'll sometimes even feel full, like if I just had like a craving. And so one of the things that I think that we can all take away for all of you out there who are on a weight loss journey is keeping cold water around. And I like cold water. I found that I don't like lukewarm water, so I have this really awesome water bottle that I take with me everywhere. You guys see me dragging it around everywhere. I will run into a burning building with gasoline draws for this thing because I love it, and it keeps me working towards my goals every day. And if I can replace 7 sugary beverages with 7 of these, my life is on track. And I have a friend who tells me every day, if you have a goal, do one thing every day that can help you reach your goals. And if this one thing is me just drinking a little bit of ice cold water every day, then it's worth it for me. So I hope you guys love that.